Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Open a beverage of your choice, because today we are doing Frightful Fridays, and we will be reviewing Hellhouse LLC Part 2. Alright, let's go over the first one, just to catch up. The first one was a really kind of an interesting movie in the way they did it. It was a documentary that also used found footage and cell phone footage, where they're talking about a group of people who went into an abandoned hotel that was supposed to have been haunted. You know, back, I think it was supposedly in the 80s, there was a group of people who had that, and they did satanic rites in the basement, and there was some, questionable stuff going on. People disappeared, and when people went after him, the guy who owned it hung himself. And there's, these people go and open a haunted house for like Halloween, one of those haunted houses for Halloween. And opening night, there's this big disaster, which everyone just calls a malfunction, and a bunch of people died. So they're doing a documentary on that because there's a bunch of questions, right? And the found footage is the videotape of the people who are documenting, from their first day setting up to that night. And then the cell phone footage is people there that night. And it's just a slow build. And it ends, there's not a whole lot of answers, but you do find out some things. There is some stuff going on in there, and you see these weird things like people walking by the background, monsters, what could be ghosts walking around the background and all that. And the woman doing the documentary or something like that disappears, and you see her, at the end, lying on the ground and all that, and the one survivor had disappeared. So this one picks up about a year afterwards, and it's following the same concept. This one it's a TV show, like one of those weekly Sunday ones, where they have 3 panelists on there, and they're talking about what has happened since that documentary came out. You have one of the town council people who was talking about, what happened. You have the guy who produced the documentary, and then you had like a psychic medium, right? And everyone seems to think, so you're watching that also while you have a pair of reporters who are also trying to find out what has happened since then, because more people have disappeared, and they're trying to do a report on that, and they think that there's a cover-up going on, and they've found some evidence that there was more footage and all that stuck in the basement of this hotel. So it's switching back and forth. It's sort of, like I said in the last one, it's sort of like a memento type thing, but they're all going forward in this one, as opposed to one going forward and one going back. And again, it's a lot of it takes, not a lot of it, but a good amount of it takes place around the haunted house and then in the studio. It's kind of answers a bit of the question from the first one as to what's behind it. You still don't know what really happened down there, but it's starting to build on the lore, all while doing the same slow burn. You've got the people walking through the house, going downstairs, and someone will walk by in front and they try and follow it, or there are people sitting there talking to the camera, and you see one of the clowns go by the door on the back, or somebody peeks their head in the door. So it's not real jump cuts or anything, but it's just this kind of a creepy build towards the end, and bad stuff happens again. But you actually sort of begin to understand what is going on in there. And a lot of times when you get a horror movie, take a big name horror movie, the second one doesn't have the same quality, the same impact as the first one. And this one, it pretty much does. It's not quite as spooky or intense at the end, but there is still a lot of good intensity, and there is a good build up to it where, you're moving along, and you're just, at the end, you're just, and it answers some of the questions, but not all of them. So because you really can't, in a movie like this, just give every answer right away. I mean, there's got to be some spookies. It's like, yes, there's ghosts, and okay, the people were say, yes, these people were killed in there, but why that's happening. You know what I mean? So this one is just kind of builds it up, and bam. And it's also, there's not a lot of why are they doing that. I mean, you can understand you can understand their actions. It's not someone doing something stupid. Generally, I mean, hey, maybe trying to sneak into this place to begin with, maybe not the brightest thing. But once they get in there, it's in, out, boom, and then, or that's the plan. It makes reasonable sense, anyone who would be doing something like that would do, as opposed to just making really stupid mistakes. And so I recommend this movie. It's virtually as good as the first one, and it's worth watching. I'm going to give it a 4.75 out of 5, and just say yes, it's worth watching, because it is a freaky, spooky movie there's no, if you like movies with a lot of gore, you aren't going to like this movie. There is a little bit of blood, no nudity or anything like that. It's all kind of tension and build up to a climax at the end. So if you aren't, if you're more of a, torture porn type of movie, or a hack slash, Jason, Freddy type thing, this isn't your thing. But if you like the horror where it's just, there's a build up and there's a mystery and all that, this is one, so you should get it. 4.75 out of 5, and watch it. So let me know what you thought of it if you watched it. Like, subscribe, and most of all, enjoy your horror.